Hey, so we're coming over here to our Duramax only service department today to take a look at a job that we're doing in-house. Happens to be my own personal vehicle, 2016 Chevy LML. Most of you guys Duramax owners are already aware of the LMLs and the potential of the CP4 failure. So CP4 failures aren't very good. Catastrophic failure, metal everywhere. When you get metal everywhere, it turns into a big giant repair. So to prevent that, what we're going to do on this truck here, and we do a lot in-house, is a CP3 conversion kit. So the CP3 conversion kit, a lot of stuff out there for options that you can go with different kits. This is a kit here we're going to run with. You can see Dan's already starting to pull some stuff off on it. So fleece, whirly fab, HSP are just to name a couple in the kits. This one here we decided to go with S&S Diesel Motorsports. We like this kit for a few different reasons. One, S&S is a great company, great product, but most importantly, live in California, I drive on California roads. Unfortunately, I got to get this truck smogged every 2 years. So we're going with a 50 state legal, CARB approved, EO number, no issues moving forward on it. So S&S is providing the pump, some pipes, the kit, a couple things that we have found moving through the process on some of these jobs we've done in the past is that they are providing this new pipe here, and this pipe is going to basically take the place of a stock pipe. So Dan's taken off the intake. He's got the inner fender liners already removed, coolant drain, batteries disconnected. So Dan, if you don't mind, let's take a quick moment, show our guys and our viewers what we're doing and why we like this pipe, what makes it CARB approved, and what we do with this pipe that I don't think a lot of other people are doing. So,
all right, first thing, this is your CP3 pump right here, and what makes this thing California legal is this little hose right here. This comes up and actually hooks up to your indirect injector so that all of the emissions stays intact in the vehicle when we're done with this. Right there. Then this piece right here, you can kind of look. Here's your factory pipe. This is how it comes from the factory. This half right here, once you install this CP3, this half doesn't fit as well. This actually sits a little bit deeper into the valley of the engine than what the CP4 does. So you get this pipe with the kit. This pipe hooks right into here and actually changes the angle where it comes up, and then kind of changes your angles up on the top to allow this pipe to fit in there as well.
Something we found with this pipe, when we do these jobs, we have to take this pipe, as we mentioned, we got to split it. So when you're taking a pipe that's been in there since the factory and you're taking a new end on it here, which is going to be nice brand new, compared to the other end, which is probably going to have a little bit of an impression from the existing line, if we've had some leaks in the past. Anytime you're doing a job, it's a big job. We don't like to have to go back in there to fix something. So we found a solution to prevent a leak on this thing. So what we do is we're going to take this new pipe from S&S, take the pipe that's going to come out of the truck, and we're going to cut these ends, and we're going to put this compression fitting in there. This compression fitting is going to allow to where we're not going to have the mating surfaces here, so we won't have leaks. We did a few jobs with leaks that happen in. We had to figure out a solution. We decided to go with this one. We've done more than a handful with great success with no leaks. So we've reached out to S&S, let them know what we've seen. They're working on some things on their end. It's up to them and what they want to do on it moving forward. But otherwise, we're going to get moving on this. You're going to see a little bit of installation how-to, but there's going to be some time lapse as we go forward. This job takes about 12 to 14 hours. I don't think you want to sit through a video that long, so we're going to time lapse it. Then we're going to slow some things down when we get into some of the challenging areas where we see a little more technical of how things come apart, how things go back together, and then Dan's going to get a little more detailed of those specific areas. So enjoy the video. S&S Motorsports, CP3 conversion, 50 state legal. You can find this on our web store. He's going to move forward from here.
So for the first steps of the CP3 conversion, I like to get the front of the motor pulled apart. What that entails is getting this fan shroud, the fan out of the way. So this is basically a three-piece unit. You have your shroud right here, you have a diffuser, and then you have this fan. All of this has to come out as one piece, basically like a cartridge. So we unbolt the diffuser, 2 clips on the shroud, we loosen your fan nut off the pulley, and we slide this whole thing out as one unit. Once you get it about halfway out, you can very carefully slide this out without damaging the radiator, between the radiator and the shroud. And once this is out of your way, you can slide both of these out very carefully. And once you got those out of your way, it gives you access to the front of the engine, and you can pull off multiple brackets that are up here, and then the coolant crossover right here. When we do this, we put a piece of cardboard right here just to protect the radiator. Keeps any of these brackets or tools from hitting it and causing a coolant leak in the long run. Also, we take this power steering pump, we just unbolt the 4 bolts. We leave all the lines connected and we just lay it right here. Means you don't have to refill the power steering fluid and you don't get fluid all over the place. It's a big help. Once you get all that out of your way, you've got your CP4 right here. So now our next step is we're going to start pulling all the EGR off the back here and get access to the Y bridge, pull that up, and we'll be able to slide that CP4 pump out. Okay, we got our CP4 pump out. I'm going to take a quick minute and show you some of the differences between the CP4 and the CP3. On the CP4 pump right here, as you can see, this is the top of the pump. This right here is your inlet coming into the pump. On the CP3, your inlet actually comes in through the back of the pump. So the difference you're going to have is on the CP4, you got a 90-degree hose that's going to come in here and it's going to hook to the stock location. On the CP3, S&S gives you a preformed hose. It's going to come through to the back and it's going to turn and hook right into the stock pipe. Another difference you're going to have is the outlets. If you look at the back of the CP4, you've got 2 outlets. Each one of these has 2 chambers, and as the engine turns, these 2 chambers pressurize with fuel. So off of those, you would have 2 pipes hooked together. Goes over to your passenger side fuel rail, applies fuel pressure to both rails and your injectors. On the CP3 pump, your outlet is on the top over here, and you only have 1 outlet. So you're not going to use this pipe anymore, or these 2 pipes I should say. You're just going to use 1 single pipe. This pipe is going to come off the top right here, and it's going to hook into the front port on the fuel rail on the passenger side, and then the other port is no longer going to be used, so they supply you with this. This is a plug that's going to go into where the second pipe would go into. Last thing that's going to be a little bit different between the CP3 and the CP4 is your drive gear. We're going to reuse this drive gear, but some people notice there's a little difference here. On the CP4 pump, you have a pin and you have a keyway in the gear. This actually has to be timed. So when you slide this onto the CP4, you're timing the motor so that the fuel pressure is at the rails when the injectors are going to fire. On the CP3 pump, you don't have the key. You don't have to worry about it because the CP3 actually supplies fuel pressure to the rails constantly. So you don't have to time this. So it's not a big deal that this keyway is here and not hooked to anything. You just slide it on, Loctite your nut, put your nut on, tighten it down, and put it back in the truck. Okay, in the S&S instructions, they tell you to remove this pipe. This pipe actually applies fuel pressure from the passenger side rail, supplies it over to the driver's side rail. There's 4 bolts that hold this rail into place. So you remove those 4 bolts. One's over here, right underneath the turbo on this back side. One's down in the valley. 1 bolts to the back of the CP4 pump, and 1 bolts to a bracket that's normally bolted right here to the passenger side intake. Once those 4 bolts are out, you don't have to pull this pipe all the way out. All you have to do is loosen this pipe up. You can maneuver it around and prop it up out of your way, and then that gives you enough access to get the CP4 pump out. The other thing that you have to do is, with the CP3 installed, this bolt is not going to be used anymore where this bolt goes through. So you're actually going to remove this completely off the pipe. The easiest way to do that when you do it in the truck like this, take 2 pry bars, you slide one in here, you slide the other one right here, and you very carefully spread that apart, and then you can pop it off the back side. It's off. Okay, we are going to now install the new feed pipe with the compression fitting that we explained earlier in the video. So, thanks, the easiest way of doing this is just to lock it up here in a vise, loosen the old one off, inside a wrench. And the one with the male end on the fitting, we don't need that pipe anymore. That one is done. Install the new one here. So, next thing we're going to do, to put that compression fitting, we have to remove this. So we like to get it as close to the, right there towards the top of that fitting as we can. So find a place to mock this up in the vise without hurting it. And we take a hacksaw. Just kind of use the edge of that shoulder as a guide. You can just hacksaw it right off. Clean up any burrs. Just take a file the corners down. Small piece of sandpaper, because that fitting is going to take up about, well, you can take about an inch onto that. The fitting is going to come out, so I like to clean the outside of the pipe pretty well, so I just take a little piece of sandpaper. Okay, and that's pretty good. I'm going to take this over to the parts washer and clean it in a couple minutes. We'll get rid of all that metal. You don't want that metal in the system. Before we do that, we'll show you how to prep the other side of the pipe. This is the new pipe. This is the one that comes from S&S. This side, you're just going to be removing this nut and this lip. And the way we do it, take a tubing cutter. This one's a Mac tubing cutter. But if you look, it's got a little groove in the wheels right here. That groove, we kind of use that as a guide. We put that lip directly into that groove. And then tighten it down so that your blade sits a little bit sideways, but that's okay. It's going to tighten down. It's going to cut it off. But we're just going to cut it as close to that lip as possible. So it's your normal tubing cutter. Give it a few turns. Crank it down. There we go. Slide your nut off. Nice clean cut. Same thing. Any burrs, stick a file to it. A lot of sharp edges there. Even though this pipe's brand new, I still take a little piece of sandpaper to it. Okay, I'm gonna go clean these up. We'll come back, we'll install the fitting. Okay, so we have our new pipe. We've cut the end off of it. We've removed the nut. We have the original pipe. This is the half that we're going to use. Cut the end off of that. Now we're going to install our compression fitting. We're going to start by installing it to this side first, because this side we're going to leave loose and then we're going to install it in the truck. So, first thing we do, separate this. You got a couple little pieces in here, so pay attention to how these come out. There's the nut. This one's going to sit down inside there like that. That one goes like that. So I just keep them together the way that they're supposed to go. That way it's easy for me to put it back together. Then I like to just mock these up in the vise. Makes it a little easier than trying to hold them both with a wrench. Okay, take your nut, your sleeves, install them onto your pipe. It should slide on pretty easy if you cleaned up the surface. Then you're going to kind of hold everything together. So you want to slide this pipe in until it stops. This thing needs to go all the way down in for this to get a proper seal. Then let these slide down And then go ahead, start your nut. And then this one, we are going to crank it down until it's tight. That one's on there. Make sure everything's good. And the other half, we're going to get it started in here, but we're actually going to finish installing it in the truck because we want to be able to set this to the right position where it's supposed to be. So, same thing, we're going to install our nut, seals. Again, slide this in all the way. Push your sleeves into position right here. Okay, just kind of pull them down hand tight. Make sure you keep them together because if it will still slide apart like this, so you got to make sure you keep it pushed together. But you can see you can still turn this, so it's going to be a little easier to get it in the truck. Okay, make sure you keep this seated all the way down. You don't want it to back out on you when you're coming off. Slide this underneath your pipe here and just roll it down into the valley. This is why you want it to be loose. You want to be able to move this around so you can put it where it's supposed to go. Slide your harnesses out. Get it into its position. And then I'm going to go ahead and secure it in place, and then we can tighten our nut down. Check your pipe, make sure you're still pushed all the way in. Let's tighten everything else down. We're going to tighten that last nut down. The line will be installed.
All right, we're day 2. Dan's all wrapped up with it. You guys have seen most of the details of the technical parts of where we have some challenges where we go through this repair on the install. But thanks for viewing. Go ahead and keep an eye on us. We're going to be putting a lift pump on this thing in here in the next few days to come. So you'll start seeing a video on that. So otherwise, thanks for choosing D-Max Store. We'll see you next time.